this morning. We're just getting this into our newsroom. We're learning that Kinston police say they responded to a house on Manchester Road just after 3 o'clock in the morning. Officers were told an armed man was threatening to shoot a woman at that house. When they got there, they say there was a, quote, brief encounter with that man before officers say he pulled out a firearm. They say that presented a, quote, immediate threat. So officers shot the man. Officers reportedly rendered aid after that, but that man died on scene. The 2 officers involved have now been placed on administrative leave. That's department policy, and another agency will take over this investigation. We will keep you updated as we learn more about this shooting.
All right. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. All praises to the Most High. Off the weight of police department beating 18-year-old Cameron Williams, which was caught on tape last weekend, they have now killed 72-year-old Thomas Burney at his home in Kinston, North Carolina. And I received some details I'm going to share with you about the incident that contradicts what the brief news stories are saying, but also the statement that is put out on Kinston Police Department's Facebook page. A few of these videos, as you see, are calling him an armed suspect, which could be further from the truth. This man was at his home and he came to the door. If he had a firearm, it was definitely his Second Amendment right to have a firearm when someone knocks on your door at 3:15 in the morning. Now, just listen to how this news story tries to portray the incident. And you see the title, Armed Man Shot, Killed by Officers, Threatened to Shoot Woman, Police Say. So we have to go on their word about this, but just listen.
Police officers in Kinston shot and killed a man early this morning. Officers responded to a home on Manchester Road about 3:15 this morning. They say a man with a gun was threatening to shoot a woman. Officers say that the man met them at the door and pulled the gun. Officers then shot him, killing him. 2 officers are now on administrative leave as the SBI and Kinston police investigate.
Now, again, they say an armed man met them at the door. But what they are not telling you is that the man, once again, Thomas Burney, was the individual that called the police. You understand? This man called the police, and you can kind of look from the details of the police statement, which I'm going to read to you here in a second, that there was some sort of domestic dispute, and the man probably called the police. Maybe, once again, he didn't want to hit the woman. You know, he may have said, you know, I will shoot you, and whatever the case may be, he may have said that, but we don't know. But what we do know, they're saying after a brief encounter. That is what their wording said. Matter of fact, let me just show you that. Now, here it is. Date is July 20th, which is today at 3:15 on Sunday. Officers with the Kinston Police Department were dispatched to a residence in the 1300 block of Manchester Road in reference to a domestic-related incident. Once again, the key word here is dispatched. They were dispatched because the man called them. During the response, officers were informed that a male suspect at the location was armed with a firearm and threatening to shoot a female present at the residence. Now, who told them that? Do you think the man who called them will tell the officers, look, I'm about to shoot this lady? That doesn't make sense if he was the one who called them. Upon arrival, officers was met at the door by the male suspect. Now he's a suspect. He is not the homeowner. He is not the 72-year-old man that called the police. He is now the suspect. During a brief encounter with him, the suspect produced a firearm in response. Now they're saying produced a firearm. Like, did he have it in his hand? Did he have it on his waist? Did he point it at the officer? You notice they didn't go this far of saying he pointed it at the officers. But in response to the immediate threat, notice the terminology, a black man with a gun is an immediate threat, whether he points it, whether he lays it on the table, whether he has it on his waistline. Black man, gun equals immediate threat. Officers discharged their weapons, striking the, once again, suspect, not the man, not the father, not the husband, not the grandfather, not the homeowner, but the suspect. Officers rendered at the scene, aid at the scene. However, the suspect was pronounced deceased on site. As per department policy, both officers involved have been placed on administrative leave pending the outcome of the investigations. Blah, 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 blah. The normal thing that they say in all of these shootings. And so I talked to my brother, Mr. David Bell, out there. And once again, the narrative remains the same. Very brief, very vague. So what we're now wanting out of Kinston is to release the body cam footage. We just met with the city council last week talking about all of the money that they spent on those body-worn cameras. Now is the time to put those cameras in place. Don't wait for a week, 2 weeks to give AI time to doctor and agree with the narrative that you put out to the people. Release them immediately. That is what should be done. Rest in peace to the brother Thomas Burney. I'm thinking, once again, it's some sort of domestic dispute. I went over his Facebook page. There's a lady in his pictures. Maybe that's his wife. Maybe that's someone he was, talking to. I don't know. But what I do know, according to the information that I received, is that he called the police. So how could you call the police? And after opening your door, they said a brief encounter where he produced a gun. Once again, having a gun is not an immediate threat. If that's the case, why is there a Second Amendment right? If police officers automatically shoot people with guns, then they don't need to be a police officer. How many people are shooting police officers as soon as they come in contact with? But how many people are police officers shooting as soon as they come in contact with the firearm? And that is something that needs to be addressed. But once again, I know this is an outright assault on Black community, Black men in general, which we are always perceived throughout history as an immediate threat. The big black bad buck syndrome that has permeated the United States since the abolition, quote unquote, abolition of slavery. But once again, we're going to keep you informed with this situation. Probably be down in Kinston next week. And once again, this is a pattern. We just left and everybody saw the video last week where Kinston police officer A. Beck beat Cameron Williams without merit as he was on the ground, so much so that he had a seizure. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this video in the comments. You see the number 919-587-7782. Thank y'all for watching, liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. This is once again one of those horrific stories that nobody wants to hear about, nobody wants to see, nobody really wants to share, but it must be addressed because once again, seems like it's an epidemic, not only here in southeastern North Carolina, but in the world at large. Thank y'all for watching. Peace and blessings.